Good afternoon. Welcome to ELL Plus with Eugenia Dolina
and Melissa Fernando. In this week's program,
the latest on the Croydon tram crash is London Mayor Sadiq Khan visits the scene.
Croydon stages a one-day festival to promote the creative arts.
And the new alternative shopping centre Box Park opens its gates. An investigation has been launched after 7 people lost their lives and more than 50 were injured when a tram overturned in Croydon. Emergency services and the British Transport Police have been providing round-the-clock care for those affected.
The whole area in Croydon has come to a standstill. At 6 a.m. this morning, a tram overturned, resulting in 5 deaths and more than 50 injured. Police are still trying to decipher the cause of the incident, but at this stage, investigation is still ongoing.
We then sent 22 ambulances to scene, 12 officers, 2 advanced paramedics, 2 of the London air ambulance teams, which obviously were in cars at that time of the morning, and our hazardous area response team.
It's not a good thing, it's a big tragedy. It is so sad to hear that things happening here.
We're now in the recovery stage of the operation. And I pay tributes to the emergency services, particularly the London Fire Brigade, British Transport Police and the London Ambulance Service for their hard work throughout the day. My prayers, my thoughts are with family members and loved ones.
We start now a painstaking investigation to really understand what happened, and that's going to take a number of days. We will now be speaking to the driver in due course to discover exactly what he knows.
The local MP has been on the scene all day. His friend was on the tram and is currently being treated in hospital.
This is a really traumatic event. Thousands of the people that I represent in Parliament use these trams to get to work or get to school every morning. They've had an incredible safety record. So this is really not a day that you ever expected to see.
Later that evening, 2 more people died as a result of their injuries sustained in the derailment. Melissa Fernando, Croydon, ELL Plus.
A 42-year-old man who was arrested in connection with the derailment yesterday has been released on police bail, pending further investigation. Meanwhile, the first victim of the incident has been named as 19-year-old Dane Chinnery. It's likely more names will follow in the coming days. Harry Totham has been down to the scene this morning to see how Croydon is coping with the tragedy.
Croydon is still reeling from its worst transport accident in decades. There's profound shock here. The streets are eerily quiet. The recovery operation has barely started because for 24 hours access was restricted by the authorities.
Police and transport officials are still investigating the scene, which is about 500 metres further down the track behind me. There are also 2 heavy cranes over to my right, which are used to hoist the tram back onto the track. The first victim has been named as 19-year-old Dane Chinnery. He was local to the area and was described on social media as the funniest boy you'll ever meet and an amazing outgoing person. Floral tributes have been left to Dane and the other victims just around the corner.
At Croydon Town Hall, councillors have reopened a book of condolence, which was first introduced in the wake of last year's terror attacks in Paris. The majority of victims were rushed here to Croydon University Hospital by ambulance, with some of the wounded following on foot. A few patients were kept in overnight with a range of injuries, and the hospital has praised staff for doing an excellent job in what they call challenging circumstances on a distressing day.
Well, I think at times of such trauma and tragedy, you're just, at this time it's difficult, but you do move on, you don't forget, but you do get through it and get to a threshold where you can carry on.
Though the community will pull together, there are fears the death toll will rise. Harry Totham, Croydon, ELL Plus.
The arts has taken centre stage in Croydon. The Croydon Youth Arts Collective held a festival to promote the arts in the borough. Croydon is already well known in the arts world. Amy Winehouse, Adele, Leona Lewis were all graduates of the famous Brit School for Performing Arts. So how can the borough put itself even more firmly on the music and drama map? Anna Effa has been finding out.
Croydon has one of the highest numbers of children and young people under 15, nearly 85,000, and getting youngsters involved in creativity is a big priority.
The future of the arts of Croydon is being questioned. Right now, Croydon Youth Arts Collective are holding a festival promoting the arts.
Croydon Youth Theatre Organisation performed an original piece, young artists' work was put on display, and young children were able to join in on activities.
Croydon's at a bit of a sort of pinnacle point in terms of transformation. So we've got the Box Park launching today right next to East Croydon Station. There's big redevelopment plans to have a Westfield shopping centre here. So it's kind of going through a lot of change. And we are really keen to make sure that the arts remain sort of valued. There's so much going on in Croydon in terms of arts provision, but we'd like to sort of maintain that and help kind of nurture it through this big change as well.
Tian Rowland Dixon, who now works as an A&R scout for Sony Music, shares her insight on how the Brit School helped her.
I feel like a lot of young people in Croydon are very scared about starting their own stuff, very scared about making their own movements and kind of doing something that they're passionate about. And to be honest, if I didn't go to Brit School, I probably wouldn't have expressed my creativity as much as I'd like to.
It's not just the Brit School which fosters local talent. Other arts organisations help stars of the future too.
I think it's just helped me become more mature as a young person and an actor really. And it's good to be around other young people, same age basically, that I can just get along with, and it's good to just be myself around them.
As part of the festival, industry experts answered questions in a panel discussion. It concluded with encouraging words from the Deputy Mayor.
Believe in yourself, because you got it.
If politicians prove as good as their word, the future of the arts looks promising. Anna Effa, Croydon, ELL+.
Now with the rest of day's news, here's Vicky Tseng.
A man who was punched to the ground in Deptford last week is said to be still fighting on his life in hospital. He was found lying in the street on New Cross Road, near the junction with Deptford High Street. Despite being rushed to hospital, reports say he sustained serious head injuries. Police have released a CCTV image of a man they want in question in connection with the incident. Anyone who recognizes him or who can provide further information is asked to contact Lewisham Met Police by phoning 101. No arrests have been made. They say the inquiries are continuing. Hackney is one of the only East London boroughs to offer homes to Syrian refugee families. Three have arrived since September, and 2 more families are due to arrive there soon. Most of the funding is in place, but there's still a shortfall of £10,000. A local charity, the New World Benevolence Fund, has pledged to provide £5,000, but the chairman, Abdul Rahman Mangera, had appealed on Facebook for more donations. The government is committed to taking 20,000 Syrian refugees by 2020. And finally, every deer has its day. And at Clitsell Park, some of the oldest animals will be retiring this winter to a new private deer site in Devon. The deer are one of the most popular features of the park. There's been a herd of deer there for over 100 years. According to Hackney Council spokesman, most deer live for around 10 years, and some of the older ones will shortly be moved to the West Country for a quieter life and to make spaces for a new generation of young bucks. Back to you.
Thank you, Vicky. A new pop-up shopping mall opened in Croydon last weekend, modelled on the very successful retail space made out of shipping containers in Shoreditch. The East London retail space includes small independent retailers, restaurants and street food outlets. It was the world's first pop-up mall. The new venture south of the river aims to build on its success. Jane Chow reports.
I'm here at Box Park, Croydon, a newly opened pop-up mall made of shipping containers. The owners say it brings commerce and creativity to Croydon, but what do the locals think?
Young people are coming here. Like it takes people off the street too. Like they can't drink, but they can be here, eat, chill with their friends, have time to socialise, and go back home. So it's really good.
I think it's good. I think it's definitely something that Croydon needs. Croydon has been pretty flat for quite some years.
Box Park is brought to Croydon by the same team behind a similar venture which started in Shoreditch 5 years ago. It's one of the first stages in a major regeneration scheme called the Croydon Plan. Independent retailers we spoke to were equally optimistic about the launch and what Box Park will do for their businesses.
It's been great. It's been really busy, and I think everyone's been really happy about it. And the feedback from the locals has been great. They just said they've been waiting forever for something like this. And you don't need to leave Croydon anymore.
Box Park Croydon provide a really good platform for us, so we don't have to do the marketing by our own. So it's really good for us.
Box Park, you know, it's got a lot, it's established already, a lot of people know about it, and I thought for us to be a part associated with Box Park can only do us good. It's brought a lot of people in. I mean, I was speaking to people that's come into the restaurant, and they've come from Essex, all the way from Essex. That's what it's done, it's brought people in from far afield to Croydon, so that can only be good for Croydon.
As Croydon recovers from a dramatic week, any good news is being welcomed here. People say regeneration in the form of the Box Park is crucial for the future. Jane Chow, Croydon, ELL+.
Coming up on ELL Plus News, Francesca will have the latest sports news.
Stay with us.
Welcome back to ELL Plus News. Our top story today. Investigators continue to search the scene of the Croydon tram crash.
And coming up after the sports, we find out how Canary Wharf is getting into the Christmas spirit.
Here's Francesca with the sports news.
Millwall's Harry Smith made a dream debut with 2 late goals to sink Luton Town on Tuesday night. The 21-year-old produced a man-of-the-match performance in front of traveling family and friends. He said it was a dream coming true. Millwall beat Luton 3-1. In football, Crystal Palace lost against Burnley on Saturday. Although both sides put on a strong performance, Palace conceded a goal in injury time and lost 3-2. ATP tennis has arrived in Greenwich. Some of the best players in the world are in town at Barclays ATP World Finals. Players like Andy Murray, who is ranked world #1, will play in the arena. And that's all for sport for now. Back to you.
Thank you, Francesca. Indian restaurant owners in New Cross are unhappy. They were hoping for an easing of immigration laws to make it easier for skilled Indian chefs to be able to work in the UK. But the British Prime Minister Theresa May, on her recent visit to India, poured cold water on the possibility of any such relaxation. Anilesh Kumar brings the story.
With sunset, rises the business hours for restaurants. It's late evening. Indian cuisine lovers could arrive anytime. But at this Indian restaurant, the manager is cleaning the floor himself, something uncommon with the profile of a manager. The question is, why?
Not enough staff. Prime Minister doesn't do anything. I'm not happy for that. And I like to Indian people come to here.
Down the road, another restaurant faces the same problem in what's been called the curry crisis. With British Prime Minister signaling no immigration flexibility to Indians, the restaurant owners feel half-hearted.
Basically, restaurants and takeaway Indians closing down all over the UK because can't get the staff. And the staff that are out there, they're demanding extortionate wages.
According to a recent study, the number of Indian restaurants in the UK is around 10,000, out of which 46% are located in southeast London.
It all started in 16th century, when British travelers brought Indians to their homeland for one simple reason, to recreate the magic of spice. But 400 years down the line, it seems those same spices doesn't spice up the immigration laws.
Currently, there are 1.5 million Indians in the UK. With dwindling of hotel talents, the restaurant business sees much at stake. And what appears now is the doors of immigration flexibility closed.
In the United States, there have been angry protests today against the result of the presidential election. Donald Trump's victory has made headlines around the world. Here in New Cross, people have also been voicing strong opinions. Luke Philpott asked students at Goldsmith if they believed Donald Trump could make a better president than Hillary Clinton.
I think his anti-immigrant rhetoric, his anti-Muslim rhetoric, the fact that he's bullied every type of minority doesn't give me confidence in the fact that he can lead a so-called progressive country.
No. The long answer is hell no. And I can tell you exactly why. He has purposely targeted marginalised minorities within the US to pander to a specifically white audience. To a white audience that feels disenfranchised by the financial crash, that's been disenfranchised continuously. White people in the US have been sold this lie that somehow their financial hardship is the fault of African Americans and of immigrants. And that just isn't true.
Hillary is better qualified because obviously she's been in the Obama administration, but Donald is more of a businessman as opposed to somebody that's got any background in politics.
There's just the worry that he's got the big red button now, so whenever he's angry, which is a lot, he's just going to push it and we're all in trouble.
It's been a week of plunging temperatures. Winter has clearly arrived as a number of skating rinks around London are opening their doors. The residents of Canary Wharf are now flocking to the ice. Wiki Seng reports.
For East Londoners, it's time to put on their skates. The ice skating season has started with the opening of ice rink Canary Wharf. The spirit of the upcoming Christmas holidays seems to be literally heating up the atmosphere of this festive spot.
Really excited about winter coming and the ice skating season, which sort of marks the beginning of that for me. I love the hot drinks, the dressing up warm, sitting in front of a fire. That whole thing's really exciting. I love summer, maybe the most because that's when my birthday is, but I'm always excited about the new seasons coming in, so I really am excited about winter.
With more than 8 kilometers of LED lights above and below the ice, the rink is actually one of the most expensive skating venues in London. Still, it attracts up to 300 people per session. Some of them have been coming here for years, and these are not only visitors.
This is my 4th year here now. I love working here because every single day is different. You never know what you're coming into. And it's generally the same people that come back year after year. It's like a little family. We all come back. We all love working together. Everyone gets along really well. So as hard as you're working, you're surrounded by your friends as well. So it's a really nice atmosphere to work in.
With 4 months of skating ahead, the rink is the most long-lasting winter venue in the city. Vicky Chen, Canary Wharf, ELL+.
That's it for now. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next week.